To Be Hero X was fucking amazing.
Fiend dancing to the shit with no rhythm. 43 tucked in.
No, there is another.
I call your name, girl. Whenever I'm lonely, baby.
Like, comment, subscribe, it helps.
With getting the full context by the end of the season, this show feels like it excels at everything I wanted it to be. From what I originally saw, just having these different animation styles of this one guy randomly fighting years ago, I thought to myself, okay, this is gonna be a pretty cool show. I wonder what this is gonna be about. The most I can probably think of is like, oh, it's probably just be either a basic hero show or a show where like there will be people with powers and they're just gonna be fighting for over something. But I couldn't be more wrong than what I actually originally thought. With this not only being a hero show where they're trying to achieve the title of X and kind of just be the king of not only all the heroes but just protector of the people, you also just have the political backgrounds that are going on, whether we're talking about corruption of who can be X, making it feel like they're trying to play with the strings of the puppet to make it go left or right when the puppet itself should be moving on its own. Then it's just the heroes themselves, the heroes that are trying to generally do the right thing or do the right thing at least by the people and set an example of what you should be doing as a hero. And then there are the people that are put into place or basically just kind of just industry plants that are in the music industry but are as heroes, and they're trying to obtain their goals by being as corrupt as humanly possible. But when it came to the show, I just loved the concepts and ideas they kind of just threw at me, whether we're talking about the split time periods that will go over one character or another, with the story going over these heroes and how their lives were as a hero or before a hero, but we're also getting insight of the time period of what is going on and how that kind of inflicts the story for the future as well as the past. Just getting small glimpse of how corrupt this place really is, but also how it became so corrupt in the first place. Having To Be Hero X remind me of comic book superheroes. No, not the obvious shit, like how they're all obviously heroes or there's capes and villains, but the medium as a whole, with the whole Silver Age, Golden Age, and even the modern age of comic books themselves being kind of a big comparison to the To Be Hero X storyline, where we do see in To Be Hero X there was a line where there was just the beginning of the heroes and how we had this one hero that was the rise or the cream of the crop of the top, with them making it sound like this era was a lot like the Silver Age era when it came to DC, where you do have these heroes and that being a more simpler time where the hero fights the villain, saves the day, and we move on. But when that big hero actually turns out to be kind of a dictator to an extent and starts killing other heroes, I feel like that turns into the more modern day era of comic book storytelling, where we get a whole bunch of more compelling stories, or we get a whole bunch of more people either getting corrupt, or we have to deal with the heroes and them sometimes being even more of a bigger threat than the villains themselves, which we get seen to be very obvious and apparent when it comes to not only the commission but the agency that are supplying all of these heroes to become bigger and greater and better than they were before, with some of them coming with a price and some of them coming with an agenda that they want to be pushed, whether it be the trust that we have in heroes to be kind of deflated and it being replaced with fear, or having a balance for both of these things and have it to be a controllable substance of how a hero can be made and how popular that person can really be. I'm not really going to go over the story or some of the heroes, at least half of it up to episode 12 or 13, because I already did it in my first video, so I'm definitely going to talk about the other heroes that we do see from 13 down, which is some of the big ones I really wanted to talk about, what they kind of meant, at least from what I was watching. One of the first ones I wanted to go over was Loli. Loli was one of those characters where she was upset about how the way she looked in this instance, because she was too cute and she was a girl, that she wasn't able to become a hero, or no one was able to like take her serious because how cutesy she really looked. If I ever had to boil her down to a specific word, it'd definitely be determination. With Loli, she never really stopped to become a hero. She always made an invention or an idea to become a hero, and even then she literally made a whole mech suit just so people can see her face and people can see how useful she really is. For her continue to push herself even when the odds were completely against her, like the fight that she had with Nice in the Ruin incident, or when she literally keeps getting denied to being a hero from her father, she's like, nah, I'm going to continue doing this because this is what I want to do, showing that if you want something, you're gonna have to go and get it, and if you want change, you have to make it happen, because no one's gonna do it for you. You have to do it yourself. There's a character I really liked, which is also Ghostblade. Ghostblade was a character where I was like, oh, he's completely psychopathic, and then oh, I feel bad for him, then they're going back, oh, he's really completely psychopathic. With Ghostblade's story, it first starts off showing like how psychopathic Ghostblade is, when as a child he was actually upset about noises, or he didn't really care about human life when he was in a butcher shop with his whole family's mom, mom pop shop as a butcher. It gained a lot of popularity throughout the years because people just liked the way he looked. He looked so sad or depressed or just interesting when he was cutting, or handsome to any other individual out there, and he eventually became Ghostblade, with one of the agencies picking him up but also realizing that he has some type of bloodlust and he wants to actually kill, so the agency also puts him out on missions to take out certain specific people. The story really gets into detail and makes me feel sad for Ghostblade. When we come to find out, he does kinda have emotions. It's just really deep down inside, and also he can't really speak to express himself, to tell the people that he loves around him that, hey, I love you, or I do have feelings for you. Or when it comes to his daughter, he's like, oh, I actually do love my daughter, I do want to become close to my daughter, but I can't speak to her because of how my powers work. The people believe in me and they kind of believe I'm a quiet guy, so I physically cannot speak. One of those cool and dumb comic book bullshit things that I really like. Which leads to some pretty cute but sad moments with Ghostblade, where he's trying to be in his daughter's life, but he's just kind of in the background, trying to be a part of her life in his own way, but doesn't mean it's good, but I guess it's something. But that kind of goes all out of the window when you start to feel bad for Ghostblade, when he still wants to kind of kill these people, or whenever the commissioner says, yo, go kill this person, he's still going to do it anyway. Ghostblade is one of the more compelling characters that we did see this season, and one that I really did like. I felt like it also had a whole big spotlight showing that people really do not give a fuck who you are. They'll put a big spotlight on you just because of how you look or the certain things that you're doing in this world. Even though they may be minor or minute things, they'll still make you popular, or you can rise to a part of being famous that you physically can kind of just do whatever you want. Seeing how easy it is to manipulate the ranking system even when you're not even trying. And with Ghostblade, it shows that he does have the opportunity to change, to become a better person, but that doesn't mean that actions from your past do not come to haunt you. Especially with the next character, Big Johnny. He killed Big Johnny's father. Really, Big Johnny and Little Johnny's father. But anyways, what I will say is Little Johnny and Ahu fall into the same exact category. The category of finding purpose. Because without purpose, you physically can't do anything. You're just wandering like a nomad trying to find out what I should be doing or what I should be doing next. With Little Johnny, he wants to find purpose in not only defeating Vortex, but when Vortex is basically killed in a plane crash, he doesn't really have a purpose to do anything really, so he kind of just sits in his room and gets depressed. He just looks at TV, he just plays video games with his little pet. They're all just distractions prolonging him until what he really wants, finding what to do next. And what makes it even worse is that he really wanted to become a hero, but he didn't really see how bad it really was gonna get, with not only his father dying, but also just the lifestyle of just merchandise and how everyone just wants to see you as a dollar sign and not really as a person, but also just the regular hero propaganda that they really would show all the time, like, oh, I'm a hero, I'm kind of free more or less, or I can really help out people and kind of do whatever I want. Then there's also Ahu, who basically wants to find purpose himself when it comes to him not being a circus animal anymore, him not doing stuff for others but doing stuff for himself and things that he would like to do himself, like help this little girl get the deeds back for all these old sick people, and a dog just wanting to become a hero, which is kind of cute. But both of these heroes leaving me wanting more from both of them. I really want to see what their end goal or what their purpose is going to be once we get into the tournament itself, because it's supposed to be a big tournament that's basically being led up the whole way throughout the show. It was a real I gotcha moment, because I really did think that we would get into the tournament before the season ends, but we don't at all. All of it really feels like an anthology series of us talking about all the heroes that are going to be in a tournament, but talking about the past and seeing how all of this connects and how all of it weaves together for this pivotal moment right here, right now, at the end of the season. The next person I want to talk about is the coward and fraud himself, Nice, the first hero that we do see from episode 1. We get his whole backstory and what led him all the way up to the point of him, you know, jumping off of the building, which is funny enough, Ahu, a dog, actually outclassing him in the hero and him not really becoming a top 10 hero at the time period. But from a retrospective perspective, when it comes to Nice, it always felt like everything was a facade. It was basically just a play that he was playing out, not just from all the fights that he would endure, which would all be mostly fake, but also just the way he would act or just be seen in the public eye. Everything is a facade, everything is fake. The real Nice is deep down inside, he wants to be a genuine hero, but this Nice wants to just becoming a hero in one of the most worst ways humanly possible. He almost kills the person that he says is his hero and tries to do everything he can to make it to the top, which would normally be fine, but they're all in negative connotation. But does he have regrets and feel sad about his actions that he's committing? Yes, but it doesn't matter because he's still committing that actions regardless. Even letting dogs and children get punched, kicked, or even almost killed just for his sake of his goal of reaching the top. When us seeing how cowardly Nice truly is. And if anything, Nice always reminded me of the villain that would always lose and always go back to their master, like, master, please give me one more chance. Please give me one more chance. I know I messed up, but just give me one more chance. I can do it, I swear. He just reeks of desperation and validation of things that he'll never obtain in his life because of what he's doing here and now. Then there's the hero himself, X, the one that's basically the strongest and also the closest to becoming the rank of quote-unquote God, with his power seemingly being matter manipulation but also trans-dimensional timelines of things. I really don't know. It feels like it's just a culmination of a whole bunch of shit I asked a 12-year-old and they just said that's my power set. But I am super interested in X from the little bits and pieces that we did get throughout the season and a bit of a dump of what we did get for information when it came to X. For us seeing that X wants to get rid of the system itself, he sees how corrupt it really is and he doesn't want to be a part of it. That's why he never signed to any commission or agency out, being the one person that can actually change it all because of not only his power set but what he's planning to enact at the end of the season. We still don't know, but it's either it's going to be a tournament arc that's been building up for the whole season, or he's just going to flip it on its head and maybe try to get people to actually take down the agency. But there's obviously going to be pushback because of how the certain heroes are like, yeah, we love the agency, this is actually a good thing. And I will come to the agency's defense a little bit. It does feel like the Tower of Babel, just a small tiny bit when it comes to just Batman and him just getting contingency plans for like all of the people in the Justice League because of how powerful and strong they are. If we ever need a plan to stop them, we need that plan. So in Tobehero X, if someone becomes God, the last time someone did that and he had just had so much overwhelming power, after a while that person got corrupt and started killing other heroes. So they were like, let's just get other heroes. At least of what's been told is that they have gotten other heroes to take out this quote-unquote God and made the commission so there will never ever be another quote-unquote God ever again, because if that ever happens, how are we gonna have any safeguards? We just need these safety guardrails in place so we can just control the narrative and control the heroes so we never have that ever happen again, which normally would be fine, but the commission and agencies themselves are working on other factors that will literally control the world and kind of destroy it as a whole, like fear, and how that really fucks up the human body itself with not only making some other people stronger but also in the same breath killing and changing people at the same time. X has some type of master plan and I honestly can't wait to see what he wants to do and how he really is maybe going to assemble some heroes to make a change and make a difference. Other things I did want to talk about when it comes to the show is I do love the different animation styles we do see, but there's also some parts where it gets a little bit cheap and then you just see the characters walking and it looks like really fucked up. But then you also have the fights which were extremely good when they wanted to put the budget into the fighting. I just love how much of a puzzle this show was. I felt like I was putting certain pieces of a puzzle together and me thinking that it's complete, but actually it's just a piece of a bigger puzzle, and having it be different pieces of a puzzle that all have to come together because everything's connected no matter how minor it might seem to be on the surface. And even with the 24 episodes, I felt like I could get at least another 30 just going into more depth of how this world is, but also just the characters themselves, because they all seem pretty interesting. For me, saying something very unique but also very interested in what they're doing. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.